One of the biggest lies women over 40 keep telling themselves is, I don't have time. I've got deadlines at work. I have to take John to football practice. Mary needs help with her schoolwork. So when you challenge that or suggest they carve out time to exercise or prep a healthy meal, it's often met with resistance. And honestly, you start to believe them and feel guilty just for suggesting that they could do better. Until I started applying the time management principles taught by Dan Kennedy. The results just shocked me. Not only was I able to regain control of my time, but I was able to get more done. So in this video, I'll share the 4 time management mistakes that keep most women busy but not productive, and the simple shift I made to finally reclaim my time, lower my stress, and prioritize my health. The truth is, time is your most valuable asset. You can lose money and recover it, but once time is gone, it's gone forever. So managing time effectively isn't just a productivity tactic. It's about mastering your time so you can master your life. Ephesians 5:16, the King James Version says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So while the King James Version says redeeming, modern translations interpret it more as making the most of or using wisely. So now let's look at what redeem means in the original language. So the Greek word for redeem literally means to buy up or to buy out, especially in the sense of buying something out of slavery or captivity. So in the context of time, it means to buy up every opportunity, seize or rescue time from being wasted. Paul is urging believers to live with a sense of urgency, intentionality. He doesn't want life to just happen to us because there's a number of things that can pull us away from our mission: distraction, temptation, good things even, but they're not necessarily God things. So we want to buy back our time so we can use it on purpose. Now let's look at the first time management mistake: not setting goals. So one of the biggest mistakes women make is not setting clear goals. Too many women are just going through the motions, showing up, doing tasks, checking boxes, but never really moving forward. But the truth is, if you don't know what you're aiming for, how do you know where to focus your time and energy? So it's easy to say you don't have time because you're genuinely busy, but you might be busy doing the wrong things. Now, everything that's important to you, your marriage, your health, your career, or business, deserve your intentional effort. Why is that? Because when you have clear goals for how you want to grow in these key areas, you can plan your days and weeks around the actions that move you forward. But just as importantly, you can say no to the things that don't. Unfortunately, a lot of women get stuck doing a lot of good things, like saying yes to baking for every fundraiser, coordinating family events or birthday parties because no one else would do it, and letting that co-worker vent again, even though you know they're not looking for help. Now, there's nothing wrong with these activities, but when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, is that how you want to spend your limited time? Is these things helping you build the life you actually want? Now, let's look at how goals help you make better decisions. So let's say your goal is to hit 10,000 steps a day, but you also want to spend more quality time with your family on the weekends. So instead of defaulting to watching, say, a movie with your family, which means that you're sitting again, why not choose an activity you can enjoy together, but something that also helps you stay active, like going for a family hike or walk? Now you're not choosing between goals, but you're hitting your step target and also making memories with the people you love. So let me ask you something. What are your major goals for, say, the next 12 months? Based on the important areas that you had identified, like your marriage, your health, your career. Probably you might be saying 12 months is too long, but what about the next 90 days? I want you to get clear about your goals and write them down. And once you get clear about those goals, you can break them down into actionable steps. So ask yourself, what are the exact tasks that will move you closer to those goals? And also get into the habit of asking yourself every day, am I clear about what I want to accomplish today? So mistake number 1 was not having goals. So the second major mistake that makes it difficult to find time is not having a plan for your day. So there are 2 types of women in the world: those who plan their day and those who let the day plan them. Now let that sink in. Because the truth is, if you don't take control of your time, someone else will. Your inbox will. Social media will. Other people's priority will. Success in your marriage, your career, or health doesn't happen by accident. It happens on purpose. And that starts with a written plan before the day begins. So don't roll into your morning and see what happens. You need a clear agenda, a game plan. So let me just share some tips on how to build one. So ideally you want to do this the week before, but at least the night before. I want you to block out time for each activity that you want to do that particular day. Set clear start and stop times. This helps you to be more intentional because a lot of times we feel busy all day, but end up wondering at the end of the day what you really did. But when you own your calendar, you shift from being busy to being effective. So I want you to ask yourself, do I have a written plan for the day? Have I blocked out enough time for my top 2 or 3 priorities each day? And that may include a 10-minute walk after eating lunch, using that time to meditate on a particular scripture verse, doing meal prep for breakfast the night before. Also ask yourself, am I proactively filling my calendar or am I letting others hijack it? The truth is, your calendar should really reflect your priorities. If it doesn't, it's reflecting someone else. So if you want to win your day, you need to plan it on purpose and don't let it run you. So we looked at mistake number 1 and 2, not having clear goals and not defining a plan. So let's move on to mistake number 3, not protecting your time. Now you can have the perfect plan, the best intentions, and clearly defined goals. But if you don't protect your time, none of that matters. The reality is, it's easy to get fired up at 8 a.m. But life has a tendency to get in the way. That's why you need a strategy for how to deal with those roadblocks so that you can win your day. So let's talk about some of the roadblocks you may face and how to address them. Don't let your emotions control you. Now, I know this might be a little challenging for us as women, but the truth is, motivation will come and go. And so you cannot rely on that. You need to put systems in place so that when you don't feel like it, you still get things done. So make sure you get an accountability partner. Also ensure that you create an environment that makes it easier to get work done. Secondly, limit distractions. Turn off your notification if you have to. Set boundaries around emails, social media, and meetings. For me, I usually try to put my phone away from my current location so I don't have the temptation of peeping at it. Because although I don't have a notification on, I find I still have a tendency to pick it up and just have a peek. So I put it in another room so I do not have that temptation. Also remember, if something pops up and it's not urgent and it doesn't align with your goal, it can wait. So let me give you an example. So a few weeks ago, I was doing my work. So I went outside to get something from the car and realized I had a flat tire. So then the temptation was to stop whatever I was doing and address that issue. But then I paused and I say, well, I don't have to use the car at this point in time. So let me just finish what I'm working on and then address that later. And I did that and everything worked out a lot better. And it reminds me that sometimes when we see issues that we feel the need to address them now, but sometimes, they can wait, especially if you're doing something more important. And another thing that you can do to limit your distractions is try not to take calls during the work time. So inform persons ahead of time, look, I am really focusing on doing some work now, so I am not going to take any calls so that they know what to expect. The third point to pay attention to, say no more often. Now, protecting your time means realizing that every yes to someone else is a no to your own priorities. Now, saying no can be tough, especially when you feel guilty about disappointing people or when others try to make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. Now, for those close to you, I would advise that you share your plan with them and discuss it so you can come to an agreement to help make it work. But the others who don't respect your decision, it may mean going your separate ways. And this is what I want to emphasize. You're going to have to make some tough calls if you really want to protect your time. Now, this is not about being rigid. It's about being responsible with your most valuable resource, time. And to the women who struggle to give up control or find themselves micromanaging, this applies to you too. Sometimes protecting your time means letting go and not trying to fix everything or not trying to depend on anyone. So I want you to ask yourself, am I following through on what I plan, or am I letting my emotions or distractions run the day? Number 2, am I tracking what I actually do or just assuming I'm being productive? Am I letting others steal my time with small requests, constant interruption, or avoidable distractions? Here's the bottom line. If you don't protect your time, No one else will. And if you don't follow through on your plans, you will stay stuck in the same cycle, being busy but not productive. So just imagine what your life could look like if you finally had time for the things that truly matters. If you could plan and organize your day instead of letting your days run you. Now you can create that kind of life. But the real question is, are you ready to regain control of your time? So we looked at mistake number 1, 2, and 3. Not having clear goals, not defining a plan, and not protecting our time. So now let's move on to the last mistake. Not measuring our progress or staying accountable. Now managing your time and your life requires constant review, adjustment, and accountability. Because what worked last week might not work this week. Or what you thought would be productive in the moment might not actually be moving you closer to your goal. That's why you need to review your day daily. So at the end of the day, I want you to ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? Where did I stay focused? Where did I drift? Also take a few minutes to compare what you plan versus what you actually accomplished. And that might mean taking an actual record of what you did during the day. You want to ensure that your priorities get done and that you didn't spend the day reacting to everyone else. And you also want to ensure that what you're doing is helping you reach your goals. So during your review, I want you to pause and consider if you need to do something differently the next day. Also look at where you might be leaking time that needs to be plugged. Like I said before, I realized even though I had turned off my notification on my phone, I find myself still checking my phone periodically. That's why I had to move my phone to a different location. So at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect, but making progress with your goals. But you cannot improve if you don't measure. So that means you will need to tweak your plan to ensure you eliminate time wasters, bottlenecks, and unwanted patterns. And that's how the pros operate. They don't just execute, but they evaluate and then adjust. And like I said before, get an accountability partner who can help walk you through this process. Join a community to help you stay on track. This is how serious you need to be. You can no longer accept I don't have time as an excuse. You have to make the time, especially when it comes to your health. Because if you don't prioritize it, something else will. And the cost will be far greater later. So after learning about the 4 time management mistakes women over 40 often make, you might realize something important. Not having time isn't the real issue, it's how you're managing it. So let today be the last time you say, I don't have time. Start getting intentional about what really matters, like your health, your energy, and your future. So do you want to lose 15 to 20 pounds before Christmas? Well, I'm looking for 5 women ready to make it happen. So click the link below to grab your spot.